this. It says women CEOs lack tact and empathy. They settle issues through might, not mutual respect. They hold prejudices and mistrust. They try to overcompensate for perceived softness. They file complaints at the drop of a hat. They maintain a mean facade. They have a misplaced sense of entitlement, and their approach is my way or the highway.
जय हिंद, नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल सभी को. It's been talk of the country today and yesterday ever since this demi-offshore letter of General Puri has got in hands of the media, and it has come up in various newspapers are talking about it, and various channels are talking about it, various officers are talking about it. But first and foremost, I would say कि has anybody actually read the complete demi-offshore letter which has come out and the inferences have been taken? Yes, all the senior officers, brigadiers and above, who have been talking about it, they are talking absolutely correct things and telling you people that the letter is to the letter and spirit very right. It is the reviewing officer of certain commanding officers who has penned down his thoughts after reviewing their annual confidential reports, and these things are confidential in nature. So first and foremost, I would like to ask how and why should be the other agencies involved in giving their critiques to the people who don't understand it. The people are not understanding this, what language you are speaking, and most of the media or the newspapers which are talking about it, they are talking only the paragraphs which they suit them. Have you read the entire 5 pages? No. The critics have read only two or 2.5 pages of it and covering it as a story on their channels. Go and listen to the general officers who are talking about it, who have given their analysis towards it. What exactly is the general officer of a corps is trying to say, being the reviewing officer of these women officers who are commanding officers? So what the general officer has brought out in his demi-offshore letter is that all these 8 officers whose CRs have been reviewed by him, there is something very much common between all these 8 officers, is that they somehow lack interpersonal relationships. They have an aggravated tendency to complain at beck and call. They do not want to decentralize the powers to the junior commanders or the junior leaders. Somehow the entitlement which a commanding officer should get, as far as the perks and privileges are concerned, they've been too demanding, wherein there are orders laid out time to time by the senior officers oblique the command channel in writing or in interofficial notes. So they don't have empathy as far as troop management is concerned, because they have not served on ground with the troops as such. They have not been part of the exercises with troops. They have not been subjected to various duties in operational alerts, which are there in all field formations. Now these officers have been reviewed, not only reviewed by a lieutenant general, but the initiating officer of these 8 officers are major generals who are formation commanders in field. So if the commonality of the issues brought out by various major generals, their immediate initiating officers, and thereafter the reviewing officer who is their corps commander, so there has to be some issues which are common in nature with all these officers. Now the media has not covered what analysis the general officer gives in the later part of his demi-official letter, which our senior officers retired officers, serving officers have brought out amply clear, because the civilians in total don't understand what actually are these procedures, what actually are the selection procedures which are supposed to be met with until unless you get command of a field formation oblique a battalion or a regiment. So these officers in their short service commission of 10 years or say 14 years have not undergone various kind of confidential reports, various kinds of assessment reports, which are mandatory for empanelment to a full colonel and getting command of the battalion of the regiment. There has been preferential tasking to all these officers in their career of 10 or 12 years, after which they have been promoted to the rank of lieutenant colonel or empaneled as a full colonel. There has been a perceived gender bias. Now, if they want gender empowerment, it should be gender equality also. So, the general officer has rightly brought out that they should be subjected to all those selection criteria which their male counterparts undergo to become a full colonel and then get command of a battalion of a regiment. And more so, it has always been our media that minor or a major, whatever, achievements by these women officers have been blown in the media to multiple proportions, wherein similar or better achievements by their male counterparts are not brought out. It is thought, okay, ये तो इनका काम है. They will do it and they have to do it. But a minor achievement by the women officers is brought out of proportions. That should not be there. And the remedial measures have been suggested by the general officer and been communicated to the AG's branch as well as the military secretary's branch, that all these people should undergo a neutral criterion as their male counterparts to get empaneled to become commanding officers in future. The policy of spouse postings must be reviewed, that if the gentleman officer is going to certain area, the spouse posting, the women officer goes along with him. No, that should be reviewed in principle. And the training institutes should give away with the gender bias and train all these officers as one. Women are equally empowered and they are good administrators, I would say, but they should be put down to all similar kind of training what their male counterparts go with. And bringing out such newses in the media wherein our young aspirants, all these women who are aspiring to be officers in the Indian Armed Forces, gives a very big dent on the morale. So whenever such news or such issues are published in print oblique, they come up in various news channels, it should be made sure that the media is amply clearing what are the lacunas and how the armed forces are going to get things in order to eradicate these lacunas. Women officers are as good as gentlemen officers, but finally the buck stops that they will be and should be subjected to all the assessments and all the courses befitting to become a full colonel, empaneled as a full colonel, and thereafter get command. Jai Hind.